The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the HSS Curiosity, humanity's flagship of their first deep space exploration fleet. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her. The excitement of pushing beyond the boundaries of known space tingled through her body, a sensation shared by every member of her crew. "Status report," Elena called out, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Lieutenant Commander Aiden Chen, her second in command, responded promptly. "All systems nominal, Captain. The rest of the fleet is in formation and awaiting your orders." Elena nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. The fleet might be small by the standards of space opera fantasies, just 5 ships in total, but it represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity and determination. Each vessel was a marvel of engineering, designed to be adaptable, resilient, and far more capable than their size suggested. "Very well," Elena said. "Let's make history. Engage the Alcubierre drives and take us to the edge of the Orion Arm." The crew worked with practiced efficiency, and soon the fleet was surging through space at speeds that would have been considered impossible just a few decades ago. As they traveled, Elena couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought humanity to this point. Earth had faced its share of crises: climate change, resource depletion, political upheavals. But instead of succumbing, humanity had risen to the challenge. United by adversity, the nations of Earth had pooled their resources and knowledge. The result was a technological renaissance that had propelled them to the stars. Days passed in the blink of an eye as the fleet hurtled through space. Then, without warning, alarms blared across the bridge. "Captain," Lieutenant Zara Okoye, the sensor officer, called out. "Unknown objects detected ahead. They're massive." Elena leaned forward, her heart racing. On screen, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that took their breath away. A fleet of ships, each easily 10 times the size of the Curiosity, hung in space before them. Their design was alien, all smooth curves and iridescent surfaces that seemed to shift and flow. "First contact," Elena breathed. Then, louder, "All hands to stations. Open a channel on all frequencies." Before they could broadcast a message, a beam of light shot out from the lead alien ship, enveloping the human fleet. Elena tensed, expecting an attack, but instead, a holographic image materialized on the bridge. A tall, slender being with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like the surface of their ships. "Greetings, explorers," the alien spoke, its voice resonating with an otherworldly harmony. "I am High Commander Zix Era of the Zarkonian Empire. You have entered our space." Elena stepped forward, chin held high. "I am Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Human Exploration Fleet. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship." Zixara's large, multifaceted eyes blinked in what seemed like amusement. "Human Exploration Fleet. These tiny vessels hardly qualify as a fleet. Are you truly capable of interstellar travel in such primitive craft?" Elena felt a flash of indignation, but kept her composure. "Our ships may be small, High Commander, but they are the product of centuries of human innovation and determination. We have crossed vast distances to be here." The Zarkonian made a gesture that might have been dismissive. "Fascinating. Well, Captain Rodriguez, as quaint as your little expedition is, you've stumbled into a region of space controlled by the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. Perhaps it would be best if you turned back to wherever you came from. The universe can be dangerous for less developed species." The condescension in Zixara's tone was unmistakable. Elena's crew bristled, but she held up a hand to calm them. "With all due respect, High Commander, we have no intention of turning back. Humanity has worked too hard and come too far to be deterred by the first challenge we face. We're here to learn, to grow, and to prove our worth among the stars." Zixara's expression was unreadable, but there was a new edge to their voice. "You speak boldly for a species we could crush without effort. But very well. We shall grant you access to a nearby uninhabited system. You may establish a small outpost there, under our supervision. Perhaps observing a truly advanced civilization will help you understand your place in the cosmos." The hologram vanished before Elena could respond. She turned to her crew, seeing a mix of anger, determination, and uncertainty on their faces. "Orders, Captain?" Aiden asked, his hands clenched at his sides. Elena took a deep breath, her mind racing. This wasn't the first contact they had hoped for, but it was the reality they faced. "We proceed as planned. Contact Earth and relay what's happened. Then set a course for the system they've granted us. We'll establish our outpost and show these Zarkonians exactly what humanity is capable of." As the fleet changed course, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was just the beginning. The Zarkonians had underestimated them, seen them as primitive and weak. But humanity had a long history of defying expectations, of achieving the impossible. "They may laugh at our small ships now," Elena murmured to herself, "but they'll learn. Humanity isn't to be underestimated." Little did she know just how prophetic those words would prove to be. The brewing storm. 6 months had passed since humanity's first encounter with the Zarkonian Empire. The human outpost, dubbed New Horizon, had grown from a cluster of prefab structures to a thriving settlement on the edge of Zarkonian space. Despite the aliens' condescension, the humans had made the most of their limited resources, turning the barren planet into a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the viewport of the outpost's command center, watching the Zarkonian patrol ship glide across the alien sky. The sight still filled her with a mix of awe and frustration. "Another routine flyby," Commander Aiden Chen said as he approached, his voice tinged with sarcasm. "They're not even trying to hide their surveillance anymore." Elena nodded grimly. "They still think we're harmless. Maybe it's time we show them otherwise." Before Aiden could respond, the command center's doors slid open, admitting Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the outpost's lead scientist. Her usually calm demeanor was replaced by barely contained excitement. "Captain, Commander, you need to see this," Yuki said, her fingers flying over her datapad. A holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room, showing a complex series of equations and diagrams. "What are we looking at, Doctor?" Elena asked, stepping closer to the display. Yuki's eyes sparkled. "A breakthrough. We've been studying the Zarkonian energy signatures, and we've discovered something extraordinary. Their technology, it's not as advanced as they led us to believe. It's just different, and we might be able to match it, maybe even surpass it." Aiden leaned in, his brow furrowed. "How is that possible? Their ships are massive compared to ours." "Size isn't everything," Yuki replied with a grin. "The Zarkonians rely heavily on a form of quantum entanglement for their energy production and propulsion. It's impressive, but it has limitations. Our research suggests we can achieve similar results with our own technology, but with greater efficiency and adaptability." Elena felt a surge of hope, but she tempered it with caution. "This is incredible work, Doctor. But how long would it take to implement?" "With the resources we have here, months, maybe a year," Yuki admitted. "But if we can get this data back to Earth..." The implications hung in the air. Earth had been busy since first contact, ramping up its space program and defense initiatives. With this information, humanity might be able to level the playing field. Their discussion was interrupted by a priority alert from the communications array. Elena activated the channel, and the concerned face of Lieutenant Zora Okoi appeared. "Captain, we've intercepted Zarkonian communications. It's not good." The room tensed as Zora's translation software decoded the alien transmissions. What they heard chilled them to the bone. The Zarkonians weren't just an advanced civilization. They were an empire bent on galactic domination. And humanity, along with several other newly discovered species, was next on their list for integration. "They've been playing us this whole time," Aiden said, his voice tight with anger, "keeping us contained while they prepared for invasion." Elena's mind raced. They needed to warn Earth, to prepare defenses, but the Zarkonians controlled all faster-than-light communications in the sector. Any attempt to send a message would likely be intercepted. Dr. Tanaka, Elena said, turning to the scientist. How quickly can you adapt your findings into something practical? Something we can use here and now. Yuki hesitated for a moment, then squared her shoulders. With the entire team working around the clock, we might be able to refit one of our ships in 2 weeks. But, Captain, it would be experimental at best. Dangerous at worst. It's a risk we'll have to take, Elena decided. She turned to Aiden. Commander, I need you to discreetly prepare the Curiosity for launch. We can't let the Zarkonians know what we're up to. As her officers rushed to carry out their tasks, Elena returned to the viewport. The Zarkonian patrol ship was making another pass, its crew undoubtedly smug in their perceived superiority. They had no idea what was coming. Over the next 2 weeks, New Horizon became a hive of feverish activity. Under the guise of routine maintenance, the HSS Curiosity underwent a radical transformation. Dr. Tanaka and her team worked tirelessly, integrating their theoretical breakthroughs into the ship's systems. The Zarkonians, true to form, paid little attention to the humans' activities. Their patrols continued, but their observations were cursory at best. Why waste resources on a species they considered no threat? On the eve of the Curiosity's secret launch, Elena gathered her crew. They were a mix of scientists, engineers, and military personnel, the best humanity had to offer. What we're about to do is incredibly dangerous, Elena told them. We're going to slip past the Zarkonian patrols, make a run for Earth, and warn them of the coming invasion. Our new drive system is untested. We may not survive the journey. But if we do nothing, billions will die. Earth will fall. I won't order anyone to come with me. This mission is volunteer only. There was a moment of silence, then Aiden stepped forward. I think I speak for all of us, Captain, when I say we're with you. Whatever it takes. A chorus of agreement echoed through the room. Elena felt a swell of pride. This was humanity at its best, brave, united, and determined in the face of overwhelming odds. As the crew made final preparations, Elena took one last look at New Horizon. The outpost would continue its charade, maintaining the illusion of a contained human presence. But soon, very soon, the Zarkonians would learn just how badly they had underestimated their human guests. In the dead of night, with the Zarkonian patrol on the far side of the planet, the HS Curiosity lifted off. Its new engines hummed with power that defied conventional physics. As they broke atmosphere, Elena gave the order they had all been waiting for: engage quantum drive. The stars blurred, and the Curiosity leaped into the unknown. The race to save Earth, and to unlock humanity's true potential, had begun. The battle begins. The HSS Curiosity emerged from quantum space with a flash of light, the Earth-Moon system appearing as a beautiful blue-white orb against the backdrop of stars. Captain Elena Rodriguez let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. They'd made it. Status report, she called out, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Lieutenant Commander Aiden Chen's fingers danced across his console. All systems operational, Captain. The new drive performed beyond expectations. We've covered in days what would have taken months with our old technology. Dr. Yuki Tanaka beamed with pride. The Zarkonian-inspired quantum entanglement drive worked perfectly. We've not only matched their technology, we've improved upon it. Before Elena could respond, Lieutenant Zora Okoi's voice cut through the celebration. Captain, we're picking up multiple signals. It's the Zarkonians. They're here. The mood on the bridge shifted instantly from elation to grim determination. Elena's mind raced. How had the Zarkonians arrived so quickly? Had they somehow detected the Curiosity's departure? On screen, Elena ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that made their blood run cold. A massive Zarkonian fleet hung in high Earth orbit. dozens of the enormous iridescent ships they'd encountered months ago. "They're launching fighters," Aiden reported, his voice tense. "Earth's defenses are responding, but they're outgunned and outnumbered." Elena gritted her teeth. They were too late to prevent the invasion, but perhaps not too late to turn the tide. "Hail Earth Fleet Command. Priority Channel." After a moment of tense static, a familiar face appeared on the screen. Admiral Hiroshi Yamamoto, Elena's former mentor and the head of Earth's space forces. "Captain Rodriguez," the admiral said, his usually stoic face showing a hint of relief. "Your timing is impeccable, if not quite soon enough. I assume that ship of yours has a few surprises for our unwelcome guests." Elena nodded grimly. "More than a few, Admiral. We've brought schematics for upgrades that should even the odds, but it'll take time to implement them fleet-wide." "Time we don't have," Yamamoto finished. "Very well, Captain. Transmit your data. In the meantime, I'm authorizing you to engage the enemy at your discretion. Show us what that ship of yours can do." As the transmission ended, Elena turned to her crew. "You heard the Admiral. Let's remind these Zarkonians why it's a bad idea to underestimate humanity." Battle stations. The Curiosity surged forward, its new engines propelling it towards the heart of the Zarkonian fleet with unprecedented speed and maneuverability. The alien ships, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the human vessel they had dismissed as primitive, scrambled to respond. "Weapons hot," Aiden called out. "New targeting systems online." Elena's eyes narrowed as she assessed the tactical display. "Focus fire on their lead ship. Let's see how their shields hold up against our upgraded armaments." The Curiosity's weapons blazed to life, lances of energy far more potent than anything the Zarkonians had seen from human ships before. The alien flagship's shields flickered and failed under the onslaught, and subsequent shots tore into its hull. "Direct hit," Zora exclaimed. "Their flagship is losing power. They're falling out of formation." A cheer went up from the crew, but Elena remained focused. "Don't celebrate yet. We've got their attention now." Indeed, the Zarkonian fleet was regrouping, dozens of ships turning their attention to the lone human vessel that had dared to challenge them. Energy beams and exotic projectiles filled space, most missing the nimble Curiosity as it danced between them. "Evasive maneuvers," Elena ordered. "Aiden, plot us a course through their formation. Let's see if we can't cause some chaos in their ranks." The Curiosity dove into the heart of the Zarkonian fleet, its advanced sensors allowing it to predict and avoid enemy fire with uncanny accuracy. Human ingenuity, combined with adapted alien technology, was proving to be a formidable combination. As they weaved through the massive alien ships, Elena noticed something. Their coordination is off. They're not used to fighting an enemy that can match their maneuverability. Dr. Tanaka, who had insisted on remaining on the bridge, chimed in. "Captain, I have an idea. Their ships rely on quantum entanglement for communication. If we can disrupt that, they'd be flying blind." Elena finished. "Do it." Yuki's fingers flew across her console, repurposing the Curiosity's drive systems to emit a targeted quantum field. Almost immediately, the Zarkonian fleet's movements became erratic, ships barely avoiding collisions with one another. "It's working," Aiden exclaimed. "Earth's forces are rallying. They're pressing the attack." Elena allowed herself a small smile. They had bought Earth valuable time and thrown the invaders into disarray. But the battle was far from over. The Zarkonians still outnumbered and outgunned the human forces. As if to emphasize this point, a massive energy blast from one of the larger Zarkonian ships caught the Curiosity's port side. The ship shuddered, alarms blaring. "Damage report," Elena called out, steadying herself against her command chair. "Shields at 60%, Aiden reported. "Hull breach on Deck 3, but emergency force fields are holding. We can't take many more hits like that." Elena's mind raced, considering their options. They had proven that humanity could stand up to the Zarkonians, but they needed something more to turn the tide decisively. "Dr. Tanaka, she said, turning to the scientist. "You said we improved on the Zirconian drive technology. How much power can we draw from it?" Yuki's eyes widened as she realized what Elena was suggesting. "Theoretically, far more than we're using now. But, Captain, the stress on the systems would be enormous. We could burn out the drive entirely." Elena nodded grimly. "Better to burn out than to let Earth fall. Divert all non-essential power to the drive. We're going to show these aliens what humans can really do when pushed to the brink." As Yuki and her team worked feverishly to reconfigure the ship's systems, Elena opened a channel to the rest of Earth's fleet. "This is Captain Rodriguez. All ships, prepare to follow our lead. We're about to open a hole in their defenses. Be ready to hit them with everything you've got." The Curiosity's engines began to glow with an intensity that made even the Zirconian ships seem dim in comparison. Energy readings spiked off the charts as the ship channeled more power than should have been possible for a vessel its size. "On my mark," Elena said, her hands gripping her chair tightly. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of humanity. 3, 2, 1, mark. The Curiosity surged forward, becoming a streak of pure energy that tore through the heart of the Zirconian fleet. Ships caught in its wake were tossed aside like toys, their shields and hulls failing against the unprecedented release of power. As the human ship emerged on the other side of the alien armada, leaving a gaping hole in their formation, Elena gave her final order of the battle. "All ships, attack now. For Earth." The combined forces of humanity's fleet poured into the breach, unleashing a barrage that would have made their ancestors proud. The Zirconians, their formation shattered and their confidence broken, began to fall back. On the bridge of the Curiosity, as systems sparked and alarms blared, Elena watched the Zirconian retreat with a mixture of exhaustion and pride. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had stood its ground. But as the adrenaline of battle faded, Elena knew this was only the beginning. The Zirconians would be back, and next time, they wouldn't underestimate the primitive humans. Humanity had won its first victory in what promised to be a long war, but they had proven something vital, not just to the Zirconians, but to themselves. When pushed to the brink, there was no force in the galaxy more formidable than the human spirit. Turning the tide. In the months following humanity's unexpected victory over the Zirconian invasion force, Earth had transformed into a hive of feverish activity. The schematics and technology brought back by the HSS Curiosity had revolutionized human capabilities, and every shipyard and research facility on the planet was working around the clock to prepare for the inevitable Zirconian counterattack. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood in the newly constructed Orbital Command Center, watching holographic displays of ships being refitted with quantum drives and advanced weaponry. The pride she felt was tempered by the knowledge that their respite was likely to be short-lived. "Impressive, isn't it?" Admiral Yamamoto said as he joined her at the viewport. 6 months ago, we were a primitive species. Now we're building ships that can go toe-to-toe with the best the Zirconians have to offer." Elena nodded, her expression serious. "But will it be enough, Admiral? We've bloodied their nose, but the Zirconians still outnumber us significantly." Before Yamamoto could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Lieutenant Zura Okoi's voice came over the comms. "Multiple quantum signatures detected at the edge of the solar system. It's them. They're back." Elena and Yamamoto rushed to the central command hub, where a massive holographic display showed the incoming Zirconian fleet. It was at least 3 times the size of the force they had repelled earlier. "They're not taking any chances this time," Yamamoto muttered. He turned to his staff. "Initialize the Aegis protocol. Get our fleet into defensive formation." As Earth's newly upgraded ships moved to intercept the invaders, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. Once again, humanity faced overwhelming odds. But this time, they were prepared. "Captain Rodriguez," Yamamoto said, turning to her, "I want you back on the Curiosity. Your ship and crew have the most experience with our new tech. You'll be leading the vanguard." Elena saluted sharply. "Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down." Within the hour, Elena was back on the bridge of the Curiosity, her trusted crew at their stations. The ship had been fully repaired and upgraded since their last encounter with the Zarkonians. "All systems green, Captain," Commander Aiden Chen reported. "The new quantum shield matrix is online and stable." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who had been officially assigned to the Curiosity as Chief Science Officer, added, "And I've made some improvements to our disruption field. The Zarkonians won't be able to use the same countermeasures they developed last time." Elena nodded, feeling the surge of confidence. "Excellent work, both of you. Now let's show these aliens that our last victory wasn't a fluke." The two fleets clashed in the space between Mars and Jupiter, quantum drives flaring as ships danced and weaved in a deadly ballet. The upgraded human vessels held their own, their new technologies allowing them to match the Zarkonians in both speed and firepower. But the aliens had learned from their previous defeat. Their formations were tighter, their tactics more aggressive. They focused their attacks on key targets, trying to punch holes in Earth's defenses. "They're pushing hard towards Mars," Aiden reported, his voice tense. "If they take the orbital facilities there, they'll have a foothold in the system." Elena's mind raced, analyzing the tactical display. The Zarkonians had divided their forces, with their main fleet engaged near Jupiter, while a smaller elite force made a push for Mars. It was a solid strategy, one that was stretching Earth's defenders to their limits. But in that division, Elena saw an opportunity. "Dr. Tanaka," she said, turning to her science officer, "you said you made improvements to our disruption field. How precise can you make it?" Yuki's eyes lit up as she caught on to Elena's thinking. "With some modifications, I could create a focused beam. But we'd have to get close, danger close, to the enemy flagship." Elena nodded grimly. "That's exactly what we're going to do. Aiden, plot us a course through the heart of their main fleet. We're going to take out their command and control." As the Curiosity dove into the fray, Elena opened a channel to Admiral Yamamoto. "Admiral, we have a plan to disrupt the enemy's coordination. Request permission to break formation and engage at close range." There was a moment of silence before Yamamoto's reply came through. "Understood, Captain. You have full autonomy. Just make it count." The Curiosity weaved through the chaos of battle, its advanced sensors, and Elena's skilled piloting allowing it to dodge incoming fire. As they closed in on the Zarkonian flagship, a behemoth easily 20 times their size, the alien vessels began to take notice. "They're targeting us," Aiden warned. "Multiple enemy ships breaking off to intercept." "Evasive maneuvers," Elena ordered. "Yuki, how much longer?" 30 seconds to optimal range," the scientist replied, her fingers flying over her console as she fine-tuned the disruption beam. The ship shuddered as enemy fire impacted their shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Shields at 40% and dropping," Aiden reported. "We can't take much more of this." Elena gritted her teeth. "We're not turning back now. Divert all non-essential power to shields and the disruption array." The Curiosity pressed on, taking hit after hit as it closed the final distance to the Zarkonian flagship. Enemy ships swarmed around them, but none dared to get too close, fearing collateral damage to their command vessel. "We're in range," Yuki shouted. "Fire the disruption beam," Elena commanded. A lance of invisible energy shot out from the Curiosity, enveloping the Zarkonian flagship in a field of quantum interference. Almost immediately, the massive ship's movements became erratic, its weapons falling silent. "It's working," Yuki exclaimed. "Their quantum systems are completely scrambled. They're blind and deaf out there." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Send the signal to our fleet. All ships, concentrate fire on the enemy flagship." The space around them lit up as Earth's forces unleashed a barrage of weapons fire on the disoriented Zarkonian command ship. Without its coordination, the rest of the alien fleet fell into disarray. As the flagship's hull began to buckle under the assault, a transmission cut through the chaos, a message broadcast on all frequencies in heavily accented English. Enough. We yield. The Zarkonian Empire calls for a cessation of hostilities. A cheer went up from the Curiosity's crew, but Alina remained focused. Admiral Yamamoto, are you receiving this? Affirmative, Captain, came the reply. Well done. You've just changed the course of this war. As the Zarkonian fleet began to pull back, Alina finally allowed herself to relax slightly. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had not only held its ground but had forced a galactic superpower to the negotiating table. But as she looked out at the debris-strewn battlefield, Alina knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was a vast place, full of wonders and terrors alike. Humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with, but there would be more challenges ahead. For now, though, they had earned their victory. As the Curiosity turned back towards Earth, Alina felt a swell of pride in her crew, in humanity, and in the indomitable spirit that had carried them to the stars. The Zarkonians had learned a valuable lesson, one that Alina hoped would spread throughout the galaxy. Never underestimate humanity. In the face of overwhelming odds, they didn't just survive, they thrived. Triumph of the human spirit. The Grand Hall of the United Earth Government Headquarters buzzed with anticipation. Delegates from every nation on Earth, as well as representatives from the colonies on Mars and the Jovian moons, had gathered for this historic moment. At the center of it all stood Captain Alina Rodriguez, her crew flanking her, as they prepared to meet the Zarkonian delegation. It had been 6 months since the battle that forced the Zarkonian Empire to the negotiating table. 6 months of tense diplomatic exchanges, technological advancements, and preparation for any potential betrayal. But now, finally, they were ready to forge a new future for both species. Admiral Yamamoto approached Alina, his usually stern face showing a hint of pride. Captain, I don't think I need to stress the importance of this meeting. The future of Earth-Zarkonian relations rests on what happens here today. Alina nodded solemnly. Understood, Admiral. We'll do our best to represent humanity's interests while seeking a peaceful resolution. As if on cue, the massive doors at the end of the hall swung open. A hush fell over the crowd as the Zarkonian delegation entered. Leading them was a familiar face, or rather, a familiar set of multifaceted eyes. High Commander Zixera, Alina said, stepping forward to greet the alien leader. Welcome to Earth. Zixera's iridescent skin shimmered as they inclined their head in a gesture of respect. Something unthinkable just a year ago. Captain Rodriguez, it is good to see you again, under more amicable circumstances. As the two leaders took their seats at the central table, Alina couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. From that first dismissive encounter to the battles that shook the solar system, it had been a trial by fire for humanity. But they had emerged stronger, more united, and ready to take their place among the stars. The negotiations began in earnest, with both sides presenting their terms and concerns. The Zarkonians, humbled by their defeats but still a formidable power, sought assurances that humanity wouldn't use their newfound capabilities for aggressive expansion. Earth's representatives, in turn, demanded recognition of their sovereignty and the right to continue exploring and colonizing unclaimed systems. Hours passed as points were debated, compromises were reached, and a new understanding began to take shape. Throughout it all, Alina found herself acting as a bridge between the two species, her experiences allowing her to see beyond the immediate conflicts to the potential for cooperation. As the talks neared their conclusion, Zixera turned to Alina, their voice carrying a note of curiosity. Captain, there is something I must ask. When we first encountered your species, we saw you as primitive, no threat to our dominion. Yet in a matter of months, you matched and even surpassed some of our most advanced technologies. How is this possible? Alina considered her words carefully before responding. High Commander, what you saw as primitive was simply a species at a different stage of development. Humanity's strength lies not in our current level of technology, but in our adaptability, our creativity, and our unwavering determination. When faced with a challenge, we don't back down. We innovate, we persevere, and we grow. She paused, looking around at her fellow humans and the alien delegation. But perhaps our greatest strength is our diversity. Every human you see here comes from a different background, with different ideas and perspectives. When we unite towards a common goal, bringing all those varied experiences together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. Zix's era was silent for a moment, their alien features unreadable. Then, to everyone's surprise, they let out a sound that might have been laughter. I believe I understand now, Captain. It seems we made a grave error in judging your species by its appearance rather than its potential. A mistake we shall not repeat. With that, the final points of the treaty were agreed upon. As Alina and Zix Era signed the document that would shape the future of both their species, applause erupted throughout the hall. It was more than just a diplomatic victory. It was a testament to humanity's journey from a fledgling spacefaring civilization to a respected power in the galaxy. As the ceremony concluded, Alina found a quiet moment to stand by one of the large windows overlooking the city. The sky was clear, offering a view of the stars above. Stars that no longer represented distant, unreachable points of light, but future destinations and new frontiers. Admiral Yamamoto joined her, his eyes also fixed on the horizon. You should be proud, Captain. Your actions didn't just save Earth. They've opened up a new chapter in human history. Elena nodded, a mix of emotions welling up inside her. It's overwhelming, sir. A year ago, we were alone in the universe, unsure if we'd ever make contact with alien life. Now we're signing treaties with a galactic empire and preparing to explore beyond our wildest dreams. And it's just the beginning, Yamamoto added. The Zarkonians are just one species in a vast galaxy. There will be more challenges ahead, more civilizations to encounter. But thanks to you and your crew, we're ready for whatever the universe has in store for us. As if to emphasize his point, a streak of light cut across the sky. A ship, powered by human-made quantum drives, leaving Earth's atmosphere. It was the first of many that would carry humanity to the stars, no longer constrained by the limitations of their past.